Is it hard to access affordable, healthy food? Then listen carefully. Daryl Addison, an African-American inventor, has patented a process for growing food on demand. He called it Torpedo Pot. Torpedo Pot is a fully automated flower pot that gives you control over your plant's environment. All you do is add soil, seeds, and plants to the flower pot and watch it grow. Yes, Torpedo Pot grows the rest. Visit www.torpedopot.com.
Salibonani, unjani, makadini enyu. Welcome back to the African Diaspora News Channel. My name is Maritawana, aka DJ Woke Hunters. I am woke, but never broke, honey. And yes, of course, you are probably wondering from the title, who is this radio and TV personality I'm talking about? I am talking about a radio personality who goes by the name of Gareth Cliff. Now, Gareth Cliff, he has a online podcast. I think it's cliffcentral.com on his website, where he has a show called The Burning Platform. He talks about, I think, conversations that people are not generally, comfortable to talk about. And, 2 to 3 weeks ago, he had a session where he had Mudluzi Rakivane, a member and activist of a South African political group called the One South Africa Movement, as well as the Democratic Alliance, which is the second biggest political party in South Africa. He had the leader of the Democratic Alliance Party, John Steenhuisen, in the conversation. And basically this discussion was about the racial tensions that occurred in South Africa a few months ago due to the looting that happened, especially in Phoenix, Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. So what happened after 36 black people were allegedly killed, who had nothing to do with the looting? The Democratic Alliance Party put posters around the Phoenix area where a lot of Indians and white South Africans live. They put posters basically saying, the ANC called you racist, but the DA calls you heroes. Now, this obviously, brought up a lot of outcry, especially from social media in the country. And a lot of South Africans were saying that the Democratic Alliance was obviously putting those posters around because they wanted these, racist whites and Indians to vote for them in the municipal elections, which actually happened in the previous week. Now, personally, I believe most white South Africans, and Indians have always voted for the Democratic Alliance Party. So after this outcry, the posters were then removed due to the complaints. But when Gareth discussed this issue of racial, tensions happening, he immediately shut down when Mudluzi, he immediately shut down that racism actually exists. It's still important. It's still something important to discuss. It's still there. He shut her down when she said that, she mentioned how important it is and how it's affecting the lives of black women, especially in South Africa, and, that black lives do matter, black lives matter. And he shut her down completely throughout the discussion. And we're going to play the video for you, and so that you can see what exactly he said, and I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary.
I'm sure that there are 100,000 people who are going to sleep tonight worrying about where their next meal's coming from, and about 5 people who are worried about the hideous racism that's out there.
Oh,
anyway,
I think that's a very, I'm sorry, I must interject at that point.
Let's see if it gets tested. I don't think that many people are interested. In fact, the IRR has shown us endless reports of people who say that racism is at the bottom of their list of priorities and concerns. Their biggest priority.
You obviously don't experience the kind of racism that I experience on a daily basis. So to say that's something that no one cares about, I'm sorry.
No,
really,
your personal experience are completely anecdotal and unimportant to all of us. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that you think that the experience of a black woman in this country is unimportant and irrelevant.
I'm not interested, Mudzuli, I'm not interested in identity politics at all. Nobody really is. They're only interested in themselves, what they can get out of this. The elections are coming up.
Service delivery.
Please, it's just, I'm over it. It's so uninteresting. And this has played out so badly for people in other parts of the world where they've tried it. I can't believe you're going down this track.
No, Gareth, we're not speaking about identity politics. We were literally speaking. Okay, you can proceed with your conversation then. Please proceed.
No, I want you to finish. I want you to at least explain.
You don't want me to finish because you're speaking over me. I'm just trying to, this was not about sucking us into a conversation about race, politics, and identity politics. We were having a conversation to say that the issues of service delivery are not as important as the issues that people genuinely feel when they feel like they're being race-based. And what I'm saying to you is don't
in a municipal election, they just aren't.
Okay, but municipal elections don't stop the rest of your experience. And racism is structural as well. So it's not like it's, because it's municipal election and everything else that I'm...
Is the ward councillor of your ward going to solve the problems you have with racism? I mean, in all honesty, climate change. I mean, let's talk about gender politics because it's a municipal election. No, I want the water and electricity and the roads to work.
And what I'm asking is for the DA then not to bait on the race issues. Had they not put that poster up?
We're not baiting on the race issues.
Wow, there you have it. That was Gareth Mudruzi and John Steenhuisen of the Democratic Alliance Party. And, as you saw, Gareth basically said the Institute of Race Relations, also known as IRR, has portrayed nonstop that racism is at the bottom of people's priorities and concerns, which I think is very much untrue. And whilst the DA leader was nodding to what Gareth Cliff was saying, Mudruzi then said that, well, then those people have never experienced racism in their whole entire lives that she has actually encountered on a regular basis. And I know what she's saying is a complete fact because I lived in South Africa for a few years and I've actually experienced some racism at some point. A friend of mine recently, a South African friend of mine, recently said that she was actually in an expensive restaurant with a few friends, and she noticed that a lot of the waiters and waitresses were paying more attention to the white customers than the black customers. They were basically being treated better than the black customers. So racism has always been there. It's still there, even though South Africa is in post-apartheid. After so many years, of suffering, of racial injustice, of so much oppression. This was obviously two white supremacists, which is Gareth and John, co-signing each other, and this is not the first time that Gareth Cliff has shown that he's a racist. In the year 2016, December, there was, pictures on social media that were posted of black people in KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, to be specific, around the beach, who had littered all over the beach. So the beach was looking very dirty, and, a lot of people, a lot of white people actually were complaining about the littering there. And one of the white people who was complaining was a white racist lady, a Karen, called Penny Sparrow. Now, Penny Sparrow then called black people monkeys for littering the place, the beach, like that. And of course, this caused a lot of anger in South Africa. A lot of black people were pissed by what Penny Sparrow said. And then Gareth Cliff was just like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with what she said? She's just airing her own opinion, her own view of things. She has freedom of speech, so she can say whatever she can say. I don't see anything wrong with what she said. And people are like, what the hell? So we know you're also a racist, So this is not the first time that Gareth has shown that he's racist. But of course, he's obviously in denial that he is, and he said that he's not. But if you can deny that you are racist, but then also deny that racism is not an important issue in South Africa, then, obviously you are racist, and you are technically, I think, he is a white supremacist. Now, what pissed me off the most was John Steenhuisen just nodding and agreeing to what Gareth Cliff was saying. He didn't even stop him as a political party leader and be like, hey, you need to stop saying that because her opinion does matter. What she's saying does matter. Service delivery is not it's important, but racism affects everything, everywhere, in many institutions. It's not just schools or churches or, or places people go for work, companies, businesses. A lot of institutions are affected by racism, and it has always been a tool of white supremacy. Now, if it's a big elephant in the room, I feel like the DA leader should have confronted Gareth during this interview about him shutting her down, not letting her speak, not letting her have her own opinion, her so-called opinion, which is actually a fact about what she thinks. Because at the end of the day, Black people are the majority in South Africa. White people in South Africa only make 7.8% of the population, but they still own most of the capital and businesses in the country. And those in the working class, most of them earn 3 times more than Black South Africans. Just think about that for a second. And more than half of Black South Africans are living below the poverty line. And less than 1% of South Africans are living below that poverty line. So obviously you can tell who has the benefits here, who is privileged here, where the privilege comes from here, who is being, who is not facing, obviously, the racism part. Because she then said, after Gareth said, your opinions don't matter, your whatever you're saying about, you being affected by racism, it doesn't really matter. But it does matter if we're the majority. And she was like, well, you obviously haven't faced that kind of, those people who are saying it's not a priority, it's not a concern. They obviously haven't faced that kind of racism. And of course they haven't, because I am pretty sure this IRR is owned by white people. There is no way they can say it is the bottom of the list of their priorities and concerns. And some of the Black South Africans who are saying racism is not important, racism is not an issue, it is an issue till today, everywhere globally, because white people run this planet. As much as we are the majority as Black people on planet Earth, white people run things. And that is why we have a system like white supremacy. And that is why we have a tool of white supremacy, which is racism. So, this just affects people politically as well. So he can't say, Gareth Cliff, that, the racial tensions that happened don't matter. Because that's what he was basically saying. They don't matter. Those 36 Black people who were killed, they don't matter. That's what he was basically saying. And what frustrated me the most was the DA party leader just saying nothing. Mind you, this DA leader is someone who is going to compete in the presidential elections in South Africa in the year 2024. To those South Africans listening out there right now, do you really, those who support the Democratic Alliance Party, do you really want this person as a candidate for the elections, when he's clearly showing that he is a white supremacist and he obviously doesn't care for Black people? Because as a party, most likely they don't have Black people's interests at heart. And this is what I would like to ask those watching, if you actually think, the Democratic Alliance Party has a chance in actually winning, because they are the biggest political party in South Africa, the second biggest political party in South Africa after the African National Congress, which is the ANC. So do you think they actually have a chance of winning in 2024 and having, this white supremacist, running the country, another white supremacist running South Africa again? That sounds really, really frightening. And it worries me that there's still Black people who are voting for the Democratic Alliance Party. Well, that's it from me. I hope you learned something from this, and it, helps you to take action against this kind of injustice that was shown in this interview, in this podcast of Gareth Cliff. Unfortunately, he was, fortunately, actually, he was Nando's stopped sponsoring his show due to him not allowing her to speak. They had been sponsoring the Burning platform for over 5 years now, from what I understand. But that still, people were still not convinced by that, because when they made a public statement as a company, they didn't, state what exactly Gareth did wrong. That, they just stated that he wasn't allowing her to speak. But people were saying they should have mentioned the fact that he was being racist. But I don't know. You guys should let us know what you think. Do you think Nando's essay should have actually gone straight forward and said, okay, Gareth Cliff, you were being racist. You were saying racist marks. I don't know if that was going to be appropriate or if that was going to be necessary. So also, do you guys think that, the Democratic Alliance Party has a chance of actually winning in the 2024 elections if they have, a white supremacist like Johnston Houston? I wonder. Let us know in the comment section. You can, of course, follow us on Twitter at AFR Diaspora News. That is AFR Diaspora News. And, of course, we are also on Facebook and Instagram as African Diaspora News Channel. I, myself, Maritawana, I'm also on Instagram as Ndini Actress Wacho. And I'm also on Twitter at Ndini Actress. And I'm on Facebook as well as Maritawana Dhilwayo. Well, that's all for me, folks. That's all from me. And, of course, I will see you in the next session. Cheers.
Colonization never ended in the white supremacist system. And as we see today, the colonization is in the mind. Now, those who have been enslaved and those who have been colonized, we're still dealing with the remnants of that through the colonization of the mind. Pick up my book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, and we will help deprogram you from the colonization that was put upon you by generations and generations of white supremacy. You can pick it up today on Amazon.com.